Training topic is all about sustainability, but not in the same the planet kind of way, but in the energizer bunny kind of way. A business that can keep on going on and on. A garage that can still make money, still serve customers, still find staff, still fix cars for years and years to come. A business that can continue into perpetuity. My name's Andy Crook, and my mission is to help garage owners become more successful in business. And how I do that is I go live most weeks on one of the 5 pillars of business as I see it. And today we're in the systems bit. The Atomic Success MBA is a simple system that can be adopted across all areas of any business. To help make a business sustainable, to keep going and going, I'm going to examine 3 key areas: customers, resources, and skills. We're going to use a simple framework, real world actions. So let's get stuck right in. Let's start with the most important thing in your business, and that's the people, your staff and your customers. Right now, we're going to focus on just your customers. We're going to get to your staff in a bit, but we're not going to focus on any customers, but the right customers. And here's a truth. Getting customers is hard. Attracting the right customers might be easier than you think. All you have to do is speak directly to them, provide solutions to their car-related problems, and they will start to choose you over everyone else. If you use generic marketing, you will attract generic customers. And research from none other than Harvard University suggests that it can cost between 5 to 25 times more to get a customer than keep an existing one. Therefore, retention equals sustainability. Keeping customers, sometimes called reducing churn, is like putting money in the bank. So now let's talk about resources. When people hear resources, they sometimes think tools, ramps, money, and yes, those are resources. But the most important resources in your garage are the people and the time. If you don't use both of those wisely, you'll know about it soon enough. And right now, the pressure is on, with many workshops reporting rising costs as the biggest challenge that they face. So sustainability in this instance means waste less and focus more. Not because it's trendy, but because it protects your profit. Probably one of the most important things that we can talk about when we talk about sustainability, a business that goes on, is the car park. And the UK has more than 40 million licensed vehicles on its roads. And those vehicles are changing, and they're changing faster than many people expected. Recent UK registration data shows that battery electric vehicles were around about a quarter of new registrations in 2025. And while battery electric vehicles, or BEVs, are still a small share of the total fleet, that percentage is growing year on year. At the same time, average age of UK cars is close to 10 years old. The car park is actually aging. It's getting older, which means there are lots of older petrol and diesel vehicles still out there. Therefore, 2 things are true at once. You will still see loads of older petrol and diesel cars, but you will start to see more hybrids and battery electric vehicles. You can't do anything about the car park, but you can prepare properly for the future. So, what can we do about it? We need a sustainable customer loop. We need to attract the right customer, have a good first visit, build trust, have repeat visits that result in referrals and growing reputation. That is a loop that will make your business more stable. But the challenge is attracting the right customer in the first place. Most garages leave this to chance. They don't know who their ideal customer is. Therefore, they cannot design marketing material to speak directly to them. Instead, they kiss a lot of frogs looking for that prince. This is not sustainable. Churning through customers means you're always at the beginning of that loop, trying to attract, trying to impress, trying to build trust, hoping those customers will return. And if you use a promotion, a discount, or a special offer to attract those customers, they're likely to be more price sensitive and will still continue to shop around looking for the best deal after they visited your garage. Remember, they cost 5 to 25 times more in effort, money, and time than keeping with existing customers. So when things get tight, people start to delay repairs. They shop around more and they get nervous about spending. And garages are feeling the effects of rising operating costs too. So right now, it makes sense to be more efficient, to get more from what you already have. But you can only optimize so much. And it is often easier to maximize than it is to optimize. After all, there's no limit on how much you could do, but there are limits to efficiency. But here's some good news for independents. Surveys reported by industry charities and trade groups have suggested that many UK drivers prefer independent garages over the main dealers, especially now we have an aging car park. So the opportunity is there. The question is, are you prepared to take it? This is where performance comes. And what I'm going to ask you is can you define performance? What is performance? In this instance, let's use performance equals potential minus interference. Performance equals potential minus interference. So what we need to do is reduce interference to maximize our potential. What about sustainable skills? Customers will come into your workshop right now with, let's say, a 2008 diesel with a DPF issue. And then the next car booked in might be a 2020 mild hybrid, followed by a 2023 battery electric vehicle. And those customers would expect you to know what to do. And that's pressure. But it's also an opportunity because your best customers, they don't want to use two different garages. They want to use the garage they know and trust to fix all of their cars. Therefore, you need a skills plan. And you need to think of skills in 3 levels. Level 1, in-house training. Level 2, external training on existing technologies. And level 3, external training on new technologies. In my experience, most garages need to focus on levels 1 and 2 first. In-house training and training on existing technologies. But most garages are rushing into level 3 skills training, even though the average car is 9.5 years old and 86% of the cars sold last year had an engine. Remember, MBA, more, better, before additional. New technologies are shiny objects. They're additional. So I've come up with 3 actions in each of the 3 areas. 3 sustainability customer actions, 3 performance sustainability actions, and 3 skills sustainability actions. Things you can do right now. So here are 3 simple actions you can do to keep the right customers coming. 80% of your income will come from 20% of your customers. And 80% of the trouble comes from 20% of your customers. The same is true, roughly, for the trouble you get from the work that you do. 80% of the problem jobs are 20% of the job type. And 80% of your income will be coming from 20% the type of work you do. The key here is identifying which is your 20% that give you the most trouble and which is the 20% that brings in the most income. We did a training. We called it customer classification, which is slightly different to your ideal customer. But if you look at both of those training topics, customer avatar, and customer classification, you'll get the idea. The second action is to prioritize your best customers. Once you've identified best customers and the best or most profitable work, you need to fill the diary with those, your best customers and the most profitable work. But you need to leave gaps, which means that you can say yes to unscheduled or unexpected work from your best customers. And the easiest way to create gaps in your diary is to charge more, because that way you get the same income first for less work. But what you'll find is the amount of work doesn't change. What actually you'll get is more income and more work. Don't believe me? Try it. The third action is to encourage your best customers. Encourage them to use your services more often. How do you do that? Vehicle health checks, following up on quotes. Ask about their second or third car, their kids' cars. Ask them to refer friends, to write reviews. This is known in marketing circles as warm outreach. Most of those things can be done by communicating with those customers more often. Trouble is, you're too busy. You're too busy with customers that don't really reward you. You want to look after your A and your B type customers. So what about performance sustainability actions? The first thing to do is you need to maximize your potential, which basically means you need to do more. And you need to keep doing more until you are constrained. All constrained means is limited by your resources, your number of ramps, your number of staff. And then what you need to do once you are constrained is to increase the resources and do more again until once again you're constrained. And keep doing this until you can't get any bigger and you're forced to optimize efficiency, which is the second action. The second action is to reduce interference like your life depends on it. Once you've done more, you need to do it better. But remember, you can only optimize so much, which is why you prioritize maximizing. However, there are always plenty of ways to reduce waste in any business. So that leads us conveniently on to the third action. And that is, let's talk about being environmentally sustainable very quickly. Because you don't need to become a green garage overnight. You just need to do one thing that helps both the planet and your bills. If you want a bit more information about this, check out the grants training topic for some hints on tips how you can apply for help with funding. Good examples of green funding grants, what you can use within your business are switching to LED lighting, more efficient compressors, new doors, etc. There are loads of examples in the grants training. Check it out. Remember, do more, do it better before doing something additional. Might sound boring, might actually be boring, but boring is sustainable, and shiny objects doing the exciting new stuff is interference. Sustainability skills actions. The first thing we need to do is get the next generation on board. If we want a garage that we can run into the future that goes on and on, like the Energizer bunny, we need fresh staff. And if you don't have an apprentice, but you are looking for staff, then you are part of a nationwide problem, staff shortage. Become part of the solution by investing in the future, by hiring an apprentice. Simple as. Second action is in-house training. You need to set time aside for in-house training because you need to share the knowledge you already have. You need to improve your processes. You need time and space for staff and team development. And the easiest way to do is in-house training. It only costs you the time you set aside to do it. The car park is changing. Technology is advancing, and you must keep up to be sustainable. But select the training that will be benefit to you and your staff the most. 4% of the car park are BEVs. So that level 4 EV course thing that you're looking at, is that the right thing right now? Because you must have a training plan. And every member of staff should have a training budget so you can invest in yours and their future by improving the skill set of your team. And here it is, cheesy quote time. And this quote is bandied about a lot when we talk about training. But I like it because I think it's true. What if you train your staff and they leave? I think that's much worse than if you don't train and they stay. So you need a sustainable garage plan. And if you want a garage that can last, you need three things. More of the right customers doing the right jobs, reduce interference so the most important resources, people and time, are not wasted. You need to maximize, then you need to optimize. But you also need to develop the skills that serve you best now with an eye on the future car. You need to focus on doing more, better, before you do anything additional. Sounds boring, but a boring business is the best type of business. Don't believe me? You still want to do that new and exciting, shiny thing? Here's a stat to remember. The new business 5-year survival rate in the UK is less than 50%. Because new businesses are fragile. Fragile businesses last. New thing is interference. It will reduce your potential unless your business is already maximized and optimized. And until it is, you must focus on doing more, better. So here's your atomic action for this week. Focus on one small improvement on each of the following areas. Focus simply stands for follow one course until successful. So customers and job, you need to either identify or prioritize or encourage more of your best customers to do the best kind of work. Performance, focus on optimizing your time or your staff's time by reducing interference. And skills, develop a business and personal training plans based on the business and individual needs now and in the future. This is the Atomic Success MBA. Tiny changes, massive results. But that's how you build a garage that goes on and on. Remember, if you should, you must. And what's stopping you is starting. See you next time.